the influences on our comedy. Would you want to go
Well,
first?
you know, I actually talk about that a lot in the book. When I was a kid, I was very influenced when I was 5, and I used to listen to the 2000-Year-Old Man album. It was my first comedic influence. And then as a comic, Richard Pryor was a big influence on me, because I always wanted to be a black male comic. But I just thought he was the greatest. He had, to me, you know, when I was growing up and I would watch the comedians on the Ed Sullivan Show, and they were funny, but they were telling jokes, you know, Alan King and Toady Fields, and I just didn't see myself doing that. I didn't connect to it in any way. And I saw myself more doing like the Carol Burnett kind of stuff. But then once I saw Pryor, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do, that kind of bearing your soul, accessible, vulnerable, but really funny and truthful and honest and warm. And, you know, he was a huge influence on me.
You know, I would say Woody Allen, just in terms of being kind of a triple threat, because, you know, great writer for The New Yorker, his stuff was so wonderful, and the early movies like Bananas, you know, just the funniest balls out movies in the world. And then as a stand-up, you know, a lot of us sort of forget Woody Allen as a stand-up because there isn't a lot of great footage of him out there, and he gave up stand-up years and years ago.
But
the albums are unbelievable, and he told stories that were like these made-up stories that got crazier and crazier about like going and shooting a moose and all this stuff. And they're so brilliant. His timing was perfect, and so he was a big one. But then I would also say, like in high school, like George Carlin.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what's interesting,
great.
because both George Carlin and Woody were very writerly. You know, they were very, and you're such a great writer.
Oh, well, thank you.
But
you wouldn't know. But.
Yeah, but no, but it's just interesting to hear that, because my influences were more the guys that were more improvisatorial.
Right.
Because I was much more of a performer in the improv kind of.
Well, and
role.
you have a character. I mean, that's the thing, is like you have a character, and the character of Susie Essman is what you're putting up on stage,
Right,
and that can, you know, go in any number of directions.
But Carlin was such a great writer, as
Right.
was Woody, and Woody's stuff was all like really clearly
Concise.
written and
Yeah.
concise. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah, no, those guys, and also obviously Steve Martin. I mean, Steve
Yeah.
Martin is one of the all-time greats.